tuner cars. Why buy a $100,000 supercar? You can customize your own car, and maybe come out with something even faster. This trend really peaked in the 90s and 2000s. It's kind of distinct from the original hot rod culture, but it's definitely similar. This was the time when there were lots of cheaply available ECU-operated cars, and the technology to customize them was starting to become common. At the same time, you had a whole aftermarket of ready-made custom parts. So if you wanted to have a crazy-looking bumper on your car, you didn't have to shape metal or fiberglass by yourself. Magazines like Import Tuner showed off everyone's crazy build. There was always a focus on making your car look as unique as possible, so then you could spot from 2 blocks away. Some of these cars were all show and no go, but of course, this was a time when custom turbo kits started to become available, and with that and ECU tuning, it really was possible to put together a car that completely failed to meet emissions regulations, but was as fast as cars that cost 2 or 3 or 10 times as much. Obviously, you can't talk about tuner cars without mentioning The Fast and the Furious. That movie came out in 2001 and just had a big influence on other movies and TV and video games for 10 years to follow. That movie was actually based on a magazine article published in 1998. This described the author's visit to a real nighttime drag race meetup on public roads with custom cars. And that's the same year in which we're going to set our build. Today we're not engineers, but just people in the garage, hot rodding a car. This Canguro Rosso was designed in episode 7 of the Kuroda Motors Let's Play series. You don't need to worry about that if you haven't watched it already. We'll go over this car, and of course, instead of starting from a fresh build, we'll be taking this and turning it into the ultimate street racing machine. This is an all-wheel drive car powered by a 6-cylinder boxer engine. So in that regard, it's kind of similar to something like a Subaru Legacy. We'll be customizing the engine and the rest of the car to turn it into a real street racer. And of course, it has to look the part too. If we can pull it off, this car will be the star of magazine covers and late-night camcorder street race videos. Well, when you start customizing a car, what's the first thing you modify? I think almost everyone goes for a new set of rims. That's one of the simplest things to install on a car that makes it look unique. Something like these? Or maybe these. Well, no, that looks like hubcaps that are on a Hyundai EV. I want something that's loud and obviously custom, but also shows off those big brakes back there. We're going to upgrade those too. This might be tacky enough. We're off to a good start. Let's get them in white. You know what? I like these ones for now. But we're also going to upgrade from the 16-inch to an 18-inch. Everyone always goes bigger. This makes the car a little more sporty handling because there's less sidewall flex. And it also just makes it less comfortable. But more importantly, it looks good. Bigger wheels look more expensive. They look fancier. While we're at it, we'll just make the tires wider too. And a little bigger, because it's not going to get 40 or 35 profiles real on a street car in the 90s. Also, setting the trim year to 1998, we're getting, tires that are new this year and not old ones when they come with a car. The same will go for the engine when we upgrade that too. New parts can be slightly better performing. Of course, you gotta paint it something crazy. In fact, this factory orange is already pretty crazy, but we can one-up that. Yellow? Green. Thinking green. Just something you actually cannot miss. Not from a mile away. Not when it's a speck coming up fast in your rearview mirror. There's also a nice spot on the body here for a stripe. Yeah, I think that's our color scheme. I'm also going to go ahead and roll out these fenders. Or call it a wide body kit. Put the rest on later. It does mess up these bumper bits for now, but that's okay. We're going to replace them. No more plastic bumpers. You don't normally see that on a tuner car. If the original car had them, they'll get rid of them. Hood, carbon fiber. Now I know we want obnoxious and ugly, but that's too obnoxious and ugly. I think that'll do. That's our custom hood. No, it doesn't come with a badge on it either. Badge deleted. What next? Maybe headlights. These look old. One of the most modern headlights we can get in the early 2000s or late 90s. There, this aftermarket projector set will replace our old classic headlights. Up and back, we can delete the antenna and route that somewhere else in the body. And of course, it just would not be a street racer without a big fancy wing. There we go. We can make a lot of downforce and dent up the hood or trunk. Alright, that's our custom front bumper. Full of vents. Ugly. I think that looks mostly like the sort of stuff I see in the pictures in the magazines. So, well, I obviously can't make up my mind, and I keep making it worse. So let's leave it there. As for in the back, guessed it, we're stripping the badges off. It's not as cool when the name's written on it. People gotta go, what's that? And we got rid of the front license plate, but I think we still need the rear one. Now we just need to find some really tacky eBay-looking tail lights that'll kind of fit in the same space as these original ones. See, this is exactly the kind of look I want. It just needs to fit in a rectangle space. Yeah, that'll work close enough. Just use those whole things. Now, it wouldn't be our serious tuner bumper with a giant diffuser on it. That looks about right for exhaust tips on a car like this. Only, can we make him a crazy color? There we go. Yeah, that kind of iridescent purpley chrome on there. I think we're almost there. Let's see, if we were playing Need for Speed, we got our hood replaced, lights replaced, wing put on, front bumper, rear bumper. I always gotta get the side skirts. This is some kind of actual race car thing. We don't want actual race car things. We want just fat, bulbous stuff that sticks off the side for some reason. Alright, I think that's our obnoxious Need for Speed side skirt. And then the mirror has to be something ridiculous looking. I think that might be the bill. Need a little more stickers and decals, but that's about the body kit. Let's go see if we can tune this thing a bit. So our factory engine that came in the car looks like this. And it makes 183 horsepower. We definitely have room to make more power than that. This is a 3-liter engine. The classic tuner car build is to throw a big turbo onto it. We're going to start off just doing naturally aspirated and see what we can do. So the first thing you would change would be put intake on it. That'd be a performance intake. And let's say we can weld together a custom exhaust header set. Plus we'll do exhaust pipes too. Got the dual tips back there. With some loud mufflers. Well, that's making us a lot more power, but it's revving into a wall. Luckily, we can just change that top RPM in the ECU, and the internals are good for it. Mostly. They're good enough for now. Well, if we go much further than that, we might need to actually rebuild the thing. But, what the heck, it's not a budget build. Let's just go ahead and say we can buy some forged parts for it. That makes a whole bottom end rebuild with fancy expensive parts that can rev really high. How high? Well, if we put in new camshaft and new springs. Oh, we can also delete the catalytic converter entirely. That's an emissions device. We can just illegally cut it out and throw it in the trash. Or better, sell it to the junkyard because it has precious metals in it. We go to an even better intake. Now it feels like a race engine. We're revving above 8,000 and making 325 horsepower. Now, of course, as we've had the whole thing apart, we really should paint it up too. Freshly painted new sump. Probably that would include baffles, so we're pulling high G turns, we don't lose oil pressure. Not something you actually need to worry about in automation, though. I guess I can't actually paint the block. Well, we can paint the covers. And replace some of our green and blue color scheme from the rest of the car. Now we're making a ton more power. We do need to tune some of the rest of the suspension to catch up. The transmission looks like it handles the power and speed okay, which is good, because changing up gear ratios is actually pretty hard. Brakes, they need to go bigger. We'll go to a 4-piston set and significantly larger, with some sportier pads. Those are going to be very grabby brakes. Adjusting our aero a little bit. Rear wings just enough to cancel out lift. And front's still going to have some lift, but not as much. And paint those new brake calipers. And there's a couple things we can do still on the interior. These seats can go. And in comes our set of aftermarket racing seats. It's also getting this, a proper roll cage. Don't mind those middle bars from doing anything. We're just going to leave those. Since we've already rendered the rear seats uninhabitable, that's where the big aftermarket sound system's going. It wouldn't be a proper 90s tuner build without some huge speakers. And a fire extinguisher. That's good to have. Giant white brand sticker on the window. That seems good fits. Not exactly typical for a build like this, but we'll throw a bumper sticker on there. This car is low enough, but I think I forgot to lower it. We can actually stiffen up these springs a good bit too. There, all the brands of our sponsors. I like to think that in a universe where Kuroda with a carrot badge is a real car company, these are also real. Alright, I think it's time to go test our build. Here's our creation. The Canguro Rosso has been turned into a real street racing machine. And now, it's time to do some street racing. Handling is a little stiff. I put some wider tires on there, but it's not too stiff. A lot of the times, aero balance, handling balance, you don't get it right the first time. And this isn't too far off the mark. Getting in here and weeding some cars, it feels good. And we have some good acceleration. A lot more than the factory car. Sorry. The top speed in automation was around 180 miles an hour, which is pretty respectable. On these roads, I'm not going to get that fast before I have to hit the brakes, though. Rival street racer. I will take him on and find out whose car is the fastest. It's not slow. I think our downforce might have him in the corners. That does feel really stiff at high speeds. Gonna need more front downforce, less rear downforce. But we've left him behind. Oops. That's a Mesite supercar from Bizarre Transport, a real rival of Proto Motors. Let's see if we can take him on. Dang it. He's just too fast. Well, we got left in the dust. I guess I'm gonna go back to the drawing board.
Hey, I got what you need. Get real. There are some parts you can't buy at any price. I'm the only one that can make it happen for you.
We are back in the garage, and it's time for some upgrades. Obviously, the number one issue is going to be more power. First, I'm going to tweak the handling a little bit. Thinking a little more toe in, but also stiffer sway bar on the rear in particular. And I'm pretty sure this works in Beam. We want more front wing, a little less rear wing. Maybe I need to double up on the front wing too. That's very ugly. Did you change our arrow? Not really. Let's leave that on the drawing board. What we will do is replace the steering wheel. That's a little more race car like. our new maximum downforce extended front splitter. But of course, the real way to make power on a custom engine, beat that supercar, is to throw on a turbo. In fact, maybe a twin turbo setup like that would look good. I don't know if there's really room for those to be on the side like that, but we can imagine they go in front instead or something. Running into some very funny power graphs here. Lowering compression ratio helps, but then apparently our con rods aren't strong enough either. Normally when you're building a custom engine, you would only learn that the hard way. But let's assume that we did the math ahead of time and realized that the torque that we need to make is going to be more than what those rods are rated for. In fact, the block starts to lose reliability above 300 horsepower. Our previous build of 325 wasn't that bad. At 500 horsepower with our 2-turbo setup, that's starting to get sketchy. Exhaust, I think, needs to get bigger. Alright, and that right there is a 600 horsepower setup on a Kuroda Pancrator motor that was really built to make 180 horsepower originally. Estimated top speed has gone to about 200 miles an hour. In fact, I think at this point we can justify putting some semi-slicks on it. Now, of course, that has a giant intercooler. Which itself should be visible. Brakes also get a slight balance tweak because we need to take advantage of that downforce at high speed. Now I think we're ready to take on a supercar and win. But we can't go racing just yet. We have a photo shoot scheduled. That's right, we've got to put this thing on the cover of a magazine. Obviously, in the 90s, that's how you know it's a really successful build, is scoring a magazine cover.
The cover of Import Center makes your ride look like the meanest thing in the street.
Yes, that's right, the magazine. I remember Need for Speed photoshopping your car awkwardly onto a magazine cover. It was just such a big thing back then. Only, I feel like I'm missing something. So many of these magazines seem to have something in common. Yes, that's really just how it was back then, I guess. Well, let's see. Do I need some of that? There. Yep. Now we're completely on theme for the 2000s. Only maybe that's a little too much. What else? What else we got? It's 1998, so the initial D anime is coming out. There we go. That's our Kuroda tuning magazine. Now that our modification is complete, it's time to find that Mesite and challenge him to a rematch. .20 psi of boost should give us the advantage we need. Our humble Kuroda Canguro should be faster than this supercar. As long as I can keep it under control. There he goes. Come on, faster. Fourth gear. Flat out. Passing at 150 miles an hour. Now we should be far behind us. That shows you this engine really can handle 600 horsepower. Well, it's a good thing we brought the fire extinguisher. well, that might end our underground street racing career. We could rebuild our car and start again, or we could just show people the part of the video where we pull ahead and say we won. Oh yeah, I didn't show it on camera. I tried to put these underglow lights on and they came out a little funny. I actually tried that in a different game version. They looked good, but now they don't. I gave up after a while. You're still watching? I hope you enjoyed the video. I have one last elaborate gag for you. I'm going to use YouTube's A/B testing to figure out which one of these thumbnails you guys are more likely to click on. Let me know in the comments which one you saw and whether or not it made you annoyed. I need to know if the sales tricks of early 2000s car magazines still work today. Don't forget, if you want to take a shot at making your own modified Crota car, you can grab the save file in my last video and download many of the cars from Crota. So please remember to like, subscribe, and tell me what you thought of the video. If you think I should do more car builds like this, and what are some good ideas. I'll see you next time.